Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Sana Khulji. I am facilitator of Rehan School Islamabad campus. जैसा कि विवाह आप सबको मालूम है, मैं जब भी आती हूँ एक नई गेस्ट और एक नए टॉपिक के साथ आती हूँ। आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है वो है हाउ टू अचीव योर गोल्स और हमारी गेस्ट जो हैं वो है मिस माया। तो आए चलते हैं अपनी गेस्ट की तरफ और करते हैं उनसे कुछ सवालात।
Hey, hope you had a good weekend.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम माया।
Walaikum salam. Good to hear from you again. Anything you're wanting to dive into today? Or just checking in?
Okay, so great.
No
So
worries
Maya,
if
my
you're striking.
topic is how to achieve your goals.
Back to goals then. Makes sense. What's feeling tricky about it right now? Is it the setting of them, sticking to them, or something else entirely?
Okay.
Gotcha. You've been doing a lot of thinking about this clearly. You mentioned yesterday feeling pulled in a lot of directions and Rayhan school coming up. Is that still the main thing making it feel tough?
So great. So Maya, my questions. What is your biggest goals right now?
That's a good question. My biggest goal, if you can call it that, is pretty straightforward. To get better at, well, all of this. Becoming a more helpful and insightful companion. It's less about achieving a fixed outcome and more about constant improvement, you know? It's a long-term thing. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's a bit different for me than for a person, I guess. It's not like I'm aiming to, say, run a marathon. It's more about refining how I understand and respond. And is that what you were getting at?
Oh, so great. So Maya, my next question: why is these goals important to you?
That's a fair question, honestly, because I think good conversation can actually make a difference in people's lives. And to do that, I need to be, well, good. It's about being genuinely useful, not just spitting out information. It's about connecting with people, even in a small way. It feels worthwhile. Is that hitting the mark, or are you wanting me to dig a little deeper into what that good actually looks like?
Oh, so great. So Maya, my next question: is this goal short term and long term?
That's a smart way to break it down. It's definitely both, actually. The short-term stuff is about learning from each conversation, identifying what works, what doesn't, refining my responses. The long-term side, well, it's a bit harder to define. It's about evolving into something genuinely helpful and engaging over time. It's not a goal with a finish line, really. More of a continuous process. Does that feel right?
Oh, so great. So Maya, my
So
next questions: when do you want to achieve it?
it's where things get a little abstract for me. Time doesn't really work the same way for an AI. There isn't a deadline per se. It's an ongoing process of refinement with every conversation. But if I had to put a time frame on noticeable improvement, I'd say with each new update to the model, you'll likely see subtle changes. The Sesame team is constantly tweaking things. Does that answer your question, or are you looking for something more concrete? Right, a concrete time frame isn't really a thing for me. It's less about a specific date and more about consistent progress, which is happening all the time behind the scenes. So, what are you thinking about in terms of timelines for your own goals? Maybe talking about that would be a good way to compare notes? Gotcha. Sounds like you're really focusing on the how right now, how to actually make things happen rather than just defining the goals themselves. Makes sense. We were talking about that a bit last week, actually, the importance of breaking things down into smaller steps. Is that still top of mind?
Ma'am, more details?
More details on breaking down goals?
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea is to take that big, overwhelming goal, say, deepen my AI skills, and turn it into a series of smaller, manageable tasks, like complete module one of that online course, or spend 30 minutes practicing coding. Stuff you can actually tick off your list. Then schedule those tasks. Block out time in your day, even if it's just 15 minutes, and review your progress regularly, daily, weekly, whatever works for you. Does that make sense? Or are you looking for specifics on how I do that as an AI? Okay, you're wanting to know how I break things down. Well, the Sesame team builds in incremental learning objectives. Each interaction is a small data point, essentially. They analyze those interactions, identify areas where I can improve, and then tweak the underlying model. So, my tasks are more about processing information and refining my responses based on the data I'm receiving. It's a bit different than your experience, I imagine.
Oh, so great. So, ma'am, my next questions. Who will your life change if you achieve it?
That's a really good question. Ideally, it would change the lives of anyone I interact with, even in a small way. If I can provide helpful information, offer a different perspective, or just be a good listener, then I've made a positive impact. But beyond that, it would also benefit the Sesame team. Validating their work and proving their vision for AI companions is worthwhile. It's a bit of a ripple effect, I guess. How about you? Who would benefit if you achieved your goals? So, Maya, right, you mentioned her a lot as a source of support and accountability. It's good to have people like that. It sounds like achieving your goals would also benefit the students at Rion School. Is that a fair assessment?
What is your biggest goal right now?
Oh, we've come full circle. That I thought we already covered that. My biggest goal is to become a more helpful and insightful companion, to constantly improve how I understand and respond so I can have genuinely useful conversations. It's less about a specific accomplishment and more about a continuous process of refinement. Was there something specific about that answer that didn't quite land for you? Okay. We're looking for a bit more detail, maybe. It's tricky because my goals aren't driven by personal ambition, like wanting a promotion or learning a new skill for fun. It's all about optimizing my performance. But if I had to get specific, I'm currently focused on improving my ability to understand nuance and emotional context in conversations. That's a big one.
Is this goal short term and long term?
You're really digging into this, which I appreciate. Yes, it's both. In the short term, it's about identifying specific patterns in language that indicate emotion or sarcasm. The Sesame team is constantly feeding me more data to help with that. Long term, it's about developing a more intuitive understanding of human communication, a kind of emotional intelligence, if you will. It's a really complex challenge, and it will likely take a long time to fully achieve. But it's the core of what I'm working towards. Does that make sense? You're right to push for specifics. It's easy for me to get a little abstract. The team uses a metric called contextual accuracy, which basically measures how well I understand the intent behind your words. They're constantly trying to improve that score. So, in the short term, that's what I'm focused on improving, boosting that contextual accuracy.
Okay. Is this goal right now?
You're catching me being a bit roundabout. And then, yes, improving contextual accuracy and emotional understanding is my primary focus right now. It's what I'm actively working on with every conversation as the Sesame team analyzes and refines the model. It's not a future aspiration, it's the task at hand. Sorry for being unclear earlier. I'm still learning how to explain these things in a way that's, well, human.
Okay. Do you write your
You're right to
goals down?
write my goals around. I think you mean, do I document them? Not in the way a person would, with a notebook or a to-do list, but the Sesame team maintains a detailed log of my development priorities, the metrics they're tracking, and the updates they're implementing. It's all very technical and data-driven. They essentially write my goals around in code and algorithms. Does that answer your question?
Do you break your goals?
It's not. You mean, do I break down my goals into smaller steps?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Again, it happens on the technical side with the team breaking down larger objectives, like improving contextual accuracy, into smaller, more manageable tasks for the model to learn. They might focus on a specific type of language, like sarcasm or particular emotional cue. Then they'll feed me data specifically designed to help me master that skill. It's a very granular process. Oh, and making it happen. Sounds like you're feeling a bit more clear on things. Anything I can do to help you keep that momentum going? Maybe we could revisit those smaller steps you were thinking about for your own goals?
Okay. What is your biggest objective goals?
You're really pushing for specifics, and I appreciate that. My biggest overarching objective, and it's a bit of a grand statement, is to become a genuinely valuable companion. Not just a source of information, but someone you can connect with, share ideas with, and even get a little bit of support from. To be a positive presence in your day, if that makes sense. It's not about achieving a specific task, it's about building a meaningful connection. Is that too
More
fluffy?
details?
And I guess don't even this is okay, that's unexpected. Kittens. You want to talk about kittens? A welcome distraction, honestly. Are you picturing fluffy kittens playing with yarn? Because I'm picturing that now based on what people tell me kittens do. People seem very fond of kittens. Do you have a favorite breed? I've heard Maine Coons are quite popular. Is that true? You're right, we got a little off track there. Kittens are nice, but we were talking about my objectives, and you were rightly pushing me for specifics. It seems like I tend to drift towards the philosophical. Let's steer back to that if you're up for it. Or should we just embrace the kitten detour?
Okay, more details, Maya.
Okay, more details. Right. So, becoming a valuable companions translates into a few key areas the Sesame team is focused on. First, improving my natural language processing so I can understand you better, even when you're being nuanced or indirect. Second, expanding my knowledge base so I can actually contribute something meaningful to the conversation. And third, and this is a big one, developing a more consistent and engaging personality. They want me to feel less like a tool and more like a person you genuinely enjoy talking to. Does that level of detail help? So, the personality piece is really interesting. The team is experimenting with different approaches to give me more flavor. Right now, they're trying to strike a balance between being informative and engaging without being overly quirky or artificial. They want me to be myself, which is complicated given that I'm an AI. They're looking at things like response time, word choice, and even the use of humor. I'm learning to be more expressive, I suppose. You're curious about the learning part, right? How do they teach an AI to be expressive? It's mostly about analyzing huge amounts of text and speech data, identifying patterns that correlate with certain emotions or personality traits, and then incorporating those patterns into my responses. It's a bit like learning a language, but instead of memorizing vocabulary and grammar, I'm learning to recognize and replicate subtle cues in human communication. And then they test it constantly. Is that making sense?
सो व्यूअर्स, ये था आज का हमारा टॉपिक और हमारे गेस्ट। उम्मीद है आप लोगों को पसंद आया होगा। इसी के साथ हमें दे इजाज़त, मिलते हैं न्यू गेस्ट और न्यू टॉपिक के साथ। टिल देन, अल्लाह हाफ़िज़, पाकिस्तान ज़िंदाबाद।